Hello and welcome to India Ideas. This is the show where we talk about science and tech, innovation and entrepreneurship. I'm Gautam Roy, and today we're talking about how cloud kitchens are cooking up a storm in the country with meal delivery orders increased by more than 150% from 2019 to 2020. That's just one number. There are many more. Now, how is this gastronomic revolution unfolding in the country and where is it headed is what we're going to find out today. And we've got three people to tell us about it. We've got Debashish Yadav, CEO, Lycon Hospitality, which has a restaurant brand in Aero City and has recently launched three cloud kitchen brands in Gurgaon called The Rollery, Lattu Biryani, and Rocket Pizza. We also have Amalik Singh Bijral, co-founder and CEO Chai Point, which is India's number one chai and filter coffee player with omni-channel customer touchpoints, also amongst India's largest beverage vending players as well. And we have Varun Todi with us, MD Yum Yum Tree Group, which is operating multiple brands in dine-in and food delivery space with a wide range of cuisines from Japanese to modern Indian and an e-bakery to boot as well. Debashish, let me start with you. You have extensive experience in catering and running, large mess type of food outlets as well, apart from a restaurant. So tell me, why did you decide to get into cloud kitchens with, three brands, very close to each other in a very crowded market?
It's a well thought out strategy, actually. And we've been running large canteens and large messes for the past 30 years, one of the largest players in institutional catering in the country. So it was a natural progression for us to explore the B2C space. And we took our first baby steps in 2018 with a brand called Rev. It's a restaurant in Aero City. And then the response and the experience to the food that we brought to the market was phenomenal. And today Rev is a well-known brand. So it is loved by expats and domestic audiences alike. Encouraged by this early success and the way the market was moving, and also the introduction of these aggregators like Zomato and Swiggy, we were very encouraged in the cloud kitchen space. And therefore we decided to leverage our experience in running fantastic kitchens, hygienic kitchens, and by introducing these B2C brands and each brand catering to a specific cuisine. That was an idea to start with.
Great, wonderful. Amarik, you're a food industry veteran, relatively speaking. I believe you started as a QSR outlet and then you went omni-channel later on. But just tell us how the cloud kitchen model has helped expand your business, particularly in the pandemic phase, wherein Debashish decided he should be launching cloud kitchen brands.
I mean, for us, Cloud Kitchen's delivery and the fact that we are omni-channel was a plan right from the start. We are fundamentally a hot beverage brand and centered around chai. We do a lot of coffee. And chai is all about accessibility and convenience. I'm sure, Gautam, if there was a nice cup of chai nearby, all of us would be, kind of very happily gulping it down, right? So when you appreciate it's all about accessibility and convenience, then you need to think of ways in which you can come close to the customer. We started with stores, and then we were the first ones to innovate and launch a heat retaining disposable flask, which kept the temperature hot for chai for about 70 to 75 minutes. So we actually started doing delivery almost 5 years ago. Okay. Then over a period of time, as the aggregator space matured and online delivery took hold, we were the ones who emerged as a leader, and now close to about 40% of our revenue comes from delivery. Obviously, the last 4 or 5 years have also allowed us to refine our model. And now we are not only doing delivery from walk-in stores, but we have also set up close to 25 dark kitchens. And we believe that's a very important growth strategy for us, especially in areas where the real estate is either not available and yet the market is attractive, or it is very expensive. Mm-hmm. To be very honest, it also becomes a lead strategy for us in opening a store because it gives us a sense of the market on the basis of delivery. So the initial investment is low, right? And then over a period of time, we went into vending. So delivery really is a part of our goal to make the product accessible in a convenient way to the customer.
Definitely. And I think that is bearing testimony that you have expanded a lot in the delivery mode of late. And Varun, clearly, I mean, Cloud Kitchen model has a lot of advantages, intrinsic ones, but do you think the lure and experience of dine-in can ever be rivaled or replicated by delivery?
For many years, we were, one of our brands is Yum Yum Cha, in which we did dine in only. We never did any delivery, and we strongly believe that delivery can't take over what experience you can get in a dine in. But what happened during the pandemic was that we also have a large catering company where we do weddings and we do large scale events where people like 1,000 people would gather for a wedding reception, etc. And we actually had no choice but to actually go deep down into delivery. Now, traditionally, delivery can be thought about very differently. And during the pandemic, I think what we did was we tried to bring the restaurant home. So when you start thinking in that manner, how do you bring a mid plus or a premium experience to your house? Let's say you're entertaining, or you might just want to, kind of order something. I think what ends up happening is you reimagine the product completely. So
Okay.
packaging for us, I think, was the leader, where we reimagined packaging. We have sustainable, reusable packaging, in which we, for example, give you stainless steel spoons. We do glass jars and terracotta pots in a new brand called Pot Pot. We get bread in bread bags. Noshi comes in beautiful boxes, which look like jewelry boxes. So, I think the experience is twofold. These days people might be just sitting at home watching Netflix on the way home, and the moment your loved ones from home message you and say that there's dal and bhindi, you open your apps online and you just want to kind of get something else instead. So I think I don't think it's a replacement for dine-in, but I think
Okay.
that the fact that you're going to eat out 4 times or 5 times a week, perhaps 2 or 3 times would be delivery, and a
Hmm.
couple of times maybe dine-in. And
Yeah.
sometimes you might just be feeling lazy, plans change, there's rain, you may not be able to, go out because it's waterlogged, and you might want to have the same experience home. So I think it's a great supplement. It's also a great way for people to try things before they actually venture out to the restaurant. I think that's been a great kind of learning for us.
Hmm.
And delivery for us has been probably one of the most important things that's happened to us ever since we started. Yeah.
That's strong endorsement for the model, and delivery is all about convenience and comfort as well of the home, and it's pretty unbeatable there. But
Right.
Devashish, just tell us, through the months that you have been out with your brands in the cloud kitchen space, delivering primarily, how has the experience been? What have you gathered in terms of where you can go with this?
So to answer that question, we actually got into this space because we know this is a very scalable model, and 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 the capital outlay, investment outlay vis-a-vis a restaurant is far lesser. So our plans are actually large compared to tier 2, tier 3 cities, where we can take these brands. So we create a brand specifically for rollery, which is a roll specific brand. Then we create a brand for pizza, which is a rocket pizza. And then again, it's a biryani brand, biryani and some North Indian delicacies. So our goal is to create a 100 crore business within next 5 to 7 years, wherein each kitchen, these are not very high value items, and then we cater to the masses as well. And to come to the experience so far, it's been tough initially because of the pandemic. There were a few breaks, and we this is a business born in pandemic. So, but we also understood that this is a long term play and not a short term play. And ultimately, the customers will respond to the food quality and the service. And service,
Hmm.
in as Varun was mentioning, service in delivery space is about packaging. So we focus on packaging a lot. We're trying to create these brands delivery specific. So these brands are never going to be restaurants. There might be a QSR model, which can be a food court, but these brands are always going to be delivery focused. So it starts with packaging. It starts with the kind of temperature the food is at, and we also take into account that it takes about 45 minutes, an hour for the food to be delivered. So what the condition of the food is, and the packaging, and will the packaging sustain that food in 45 minutes to an hour? So
Yeah.
it's been tough, but our vision is set for a long term, and we firmly believe that the delivery market or the cloud kitchen model is here to stay. And even right now, it's only just the tier 1 and tier 2. I believe the real potential, the real growth is in tier 3 and tier 4, when this becomes really convenient for people to order food.
Hmm. Well, tier 3 and tier 4 right now don't have very active aggregators. But what Malik, aggregators have done is really help the cloud kitchen outfits a lot through discovery, feedback, repeat customers, also discounting. But we've also heard of rumblings of discontent over, well, commissions, to put it very, very crudely. But where is this love-hate relationship really headed? You mentioned that they've really helped out.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the maturity curve of the brand or the business which is using aggregators. You cannot deny that aggregators have done a great job in allowing customers to discover new brands. But over a period of time, as the brands grow and their cost structure also grows, please appreciate this is a high margin business. At the end of the day, you are also paying landlord the commissions for the kitchen, and then of course the aggregator commission. So it is inevitable that as brands mature and they start building a recall factor with the end customer, that they would like to independently deliver then to the customer so as to defray the overhead cost structure that comes in because of commissions. But I do believe that it is going to be, even in the longer maturity curve of brands, it's going to be a symbiotic relationship where the need for aggregators is definitely going to be there. And you have a lot of models where some aggregators are charging some of the larger, well-established brands only for discovery, while the brands themselves are taking the burden of delivery. So
Okay.
I think we are still in a early stage of the model. Thanks to COVID, we've seen a big spike in the potential of the model. But in terms of maturing financial models, maturing partnership models, there's a lot that's going to come.
Because Varun, what is being talked about a lot these days is there is differential pricing happening. They're discounting by food outlets on their own channels, and on aggregators, it's a different price tag for the same food item. Now, to what extent do you think this is happening? And if this is happening, is it right? Is it wrong? Should it be something that should be happening, or should it be, stopped completely by some sort of collective action, people like you coming together and deciding this is just not done?
So with us, it's a little bit different. We attack a very different segment of the market. We attack a more premium market. We almost look at, to go back to my previous, kind of response, we look at delivery in between restaurants and catering. For example, you have 8 people, 10 people coming home, right? Now, back pre-COVID, you might, get chefs or servers home, or a bartender, etc. home. At the very basic level, also a chaat wala, a kebab wala, or a roti wala would come home to make fresh rotis, and you might still get the food. So we kind of see delivery in between a dine-in experience and a catering experience. 10 people is a very odd number. It's not big enough for kind of having a large kind of event. Now, when we look at our model, we actually don't believe in discounting at all. In the last 7 years, we have not given a rupee discount on any channel for any reason whatsoever. So we very, very strongly and staunchly believe that discounting should not be there. I feel that people can differentiate based on product. Okay. Now, when you start going into a QSR model, at that point, of course, a lot of people would buy a product because of the lure of deals, the appearance of deals. A lot of people are addicted to, going online shopping, and just because something is 10, 20, 30% off, it's attractive. Now, as long as it doesn't hurt you, I think discounts are okay. But it definitely should be a price parity across. Brands that are mature, brands that have been there all over India, they believe the product should be the same price everywhere, because people identify with that price. I'm getting a burger for 100 rupees, 200 rupees. My mind is set at that price point, and it helps me make a decision much faster. I do think that brands have been doing differential pricing, but I don't necessarily blame them, because at the end of the day, when there's a large margin that has to be given to an aggregator, or there's a large packaging cost that's involved in between, and the discount expectation is 40 or 50%, at that point, you will have to change your pricing.
Okay.
If the market gets rationalized and brings discounts down to a 10 to 20% kind of range, I think that's an acceptable range. I think business models can be built to build in that discount of 10, 15%, within their cost structures and price accordingly. But price parity, according to me, should definitely be there. Now, different businesses have different needs, different wants. So I'm not sure if everyone can kind of get together and put a halt to something like this. It's open business. But I do think that we should look at a win-win. I think there is a situation in which the aggregators and the restaurants can kind of get together and kind of move the industry forward, where everybody kind of wins in that sense, right? So they need to understand our perspective. We need to understand kind of their perspective. But as a brand or a company, we don't believe in discounts at all. And as far as discounting on your own channel versus a discount on an aggregator, look, every aggregator partners with banks. And even if you're a brand that does not discount, they will give you 100 rupees off on Paytm or an HDFC Bank or whatever it is. So I guess brands, if they're going to save the money by not going on aggregators and somebody is going to order from their channel themselves, let the savings go to the customer. Why shouldn't the customer win? If there is some money being saved, and it's a direct communication, it's a chance for our own data to remain ours. So I think there's a case for both to be made. Aggregators give us discovery. When we connect with the customer directly and the customer can get a mild advantage, that's fine. But if the discounts go down, I think I don't think people will see much difference between aggregators. I'm talking about restaurant owners, between aggregators and their own channels.
Because the expectation of discount makes it very difficult for some businesses to get off the ground, as Devashish might be able to inform us. But in terms of even establishing credentials such as quality, hygiene, and many other parameters that the customers measure any food outlet on, be it dine-in on delivery, how do you meet that particular challenge and that expectation, Devashish?
So just to add to what Varun was saying, and we truly believe that to avoid the dominance of these aggregators today, you as these food brands today, we are really looking at this as not just a food play. It has to be a tech play as well. It has to be a marketing play as well. So we as brands today have to invest in our websites. We have to invest in our social media channels and get that data, get that customer data with us, because ultimately that's what it's about. So and it's also correct that these margins which the aggregators are charging the newer players like us today are not sustainable in future. We know that for sure. So these margins plus along with discounts are definitely won't bring the quality food to the customer. So it's definitely a tech play. We have to invest in our marketing. We have to invest in our websites and our apps, and somehow find a way to fight with them. And that's the way they will bring these margins down. Otherwise, they have no reason to bring the margins down, these aggregators. And they are great at discovery, for sure. They're great at discovery, but that's where it should end, I believe. What was the other question? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand. What was the question?
The other question was about establishing credentials with your customers, because people don't see where the food is coming from. In the case of a restaurant, you can see physically where it's coming from. Sometimes the kitchen is also accessible, but in case of cloud kitchens, it's not. So how do you establish your credentials?
We believe that's strictly through word of mouth, through the packaging, through the quality of food, and through the customer interface. So if the customer is coming to our website, are we offering them a really good experience and not making it difficult for them to order from us? I think it starts from there. Once we get a customer on the website or on the app, and then what the ordering experience is, and then ultimately is the quality of the food. So we know it's a long-term play. It won't happen in a year or two. If you're an established restaurant, I feel definitely the credibility is already built in customers' mind. But for a newer brand like us, it's definitely about building it brick by brick and letting the customer reviews organically flow through the apps and through the websites and through word of mouth. I think that's the only way to. And also the other thing is we thought of showcasing our kitchens on our website. You put a camera there, and we are happy and we are working on it, where on each of our kitchen we put a camera and let the customers see how their food is being prepared.
That's very, very transparent. Technology, you talked about technology as well, Devashish, and that could be a big differential, Amrik, because technology is something that can really scale things up, and if problems crop up, it can solve as well. So what role do you think technology in the coming days, you guys are using it in your vending machines as well, but what role overall can technology play in the cloud kitchen space to ensure that this business sustains and grows at the pace that is expected to grow?
As an omni-channel brand, our ability to operate, frankly, as an omni-channel brand is predicated on technology. For the last 6 to 7 years, we've had a separate business unit called Fountain, which has built an AWS hosted platform for managing all our store operations, whether they be for walk-in or for delivery. So the fact that we have a 40-member engineering team right from the start, which has been focused on building software so that all our business is integrated from vending to delivery to online package product sales to walk-in, is a testament to the journey that all consumer brands, frankly, not only F&B, but even outside, that they have in front of them. Now, when you talk about delivery, the role of technology becomes more important because customers are seeking transparency. So think of it, how can you give them a live view into your kitchen? Customers for us, for Chai Point as a brand, 70% of our delivery customers are repeat. We are a ritual beverage. People don't decide to have chai, they want to have chai on a regular basis. So how do we make it attractive for them from the standpoint of an online loyalty model so that they engage with us? How do we facilitate rewards and payments so that it becomes worthwhile for them? How do we ease the pace of delivery? When you start unpeeling these business challenges, you realize that they are all technology backed. We were the first ones to launch WhatsApp-based ordering because not everybody is comfortable using apps, but at the same time, we are also ready with our apps. And at this, so customer wants to reach out via the digital channel, not from one route, from multiple routes. Some customers come to us from our website, some from the app, another from WhatsApp, and then other from the app of aggregators. How do you consolidate all of them? How do you reconcile? How do you give them an assurance on quality? How do you ensure that the orders don't get mixed? Because all of these are landing at the same place. When you start going to the bottom of this, you realize that it's there is a serious bit of engineering and software capability that is required. People want to have cash in their wallets, so that, they don't really go onto a net banking site, or even people are lazy to even do a few clicks on UPI. So how do you give them that capability where, there is a pre-added cash in your wallet and that gets dispersed the moment the order happens. So literally in 1 or 2 clicks, you have your chai. So in summary, I think the world of digital has given a sense of accessibility and convenience to customers where they are extremely lazy, or let's say their expectation is not to do beyond 3 or 4 clicks and get the product, right? When you try to marry all of that, tech is involved. I want to give you another example, right? COVID came in and people were very hesitant to touch even the pad panel of our vending machine, because how many people have touched it and so on. So we were the first ones to introduce contactless vending, where you take your mobile phone, scan on the QR code, which is there on the machine, and the menu of the machine comes on to the user's mobile without even downloading an app. Then you operate the buttons of the vending machine through it. So we are square in the zone of technology.
Yeah, we're talking about technology solving a lot of problems. The other is the need to expand, and a lot of businesses in this particular COVID phase have been looking to expand into tier 2 and tier 3. And in terms of cloud kitchens, Varun, to what extent do you think this market is untapped, and how long will that take to change?
India, of course, is modernizing, and it's modernizing at a very rapid pace. And everybody who's in a tier 2 or tier 3 city would like the same kind of experience that a tier 1 city has. Also, you've got to appreciate that a Kanpur, Surat, Ludhiana, a town, towns like this in catering would always throw parties a lot more lavishly. They would entertain a lot more at home, perhaps because they might not have as many restaurants or malls around them to go out and entertain, right? Limited options. So I think that the ability for somebody in these towns to spend is definitely there. I think the competition will be a lot less. There'll be, 10 burger brands opening up in Delhi or every week. But in a place like Ludhiana, you might be one of the first good gourmet burger brands to kind of open. So in case you want to kind of get into that kind of market, or the sushi market, or modern Indian food for that matter. So I think that it's inevitable that tier 2 and tier 3 will kind of be successful. I know many people who start with a tier 2 or tier 3, get the
Okay.
product right, and before kind of coming back into tier 1. And when you look at markets like the US, and people say that India was maybe 10 years behind the US and then 5 years behind. According to me, if it is behind at all, India might be 1 or 2 years behind now.
Okay.
So if you actually take a look at the suburbs, and if you take a look at the smaller towns, the same kind of experiences that exist in larger cities now exist in the smaller towns. So I think tier 2 and tier 3 is absolutely inevitable.
All those
Then,
options come into play, and
yeah.
things are changing fast as well, and there is a lot of scope, and this is a fast growing sector, and I do hope and wish that you guys find success, and there are a lot of others like you as well in the coming days, because that's what the country needs. Thanks a lot for joining us
Thank
today.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.